Shaky anybody? There's new information about how helpful it is to our health. Yeah, exactly. Caffeine or us. Good morning. I drink coffee. You do. Do you?
I drink 5 hour and coffee, and I go back to coffee, then I have another 5 hour.
Energy? Are you kidding me?
I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to come in here.
And you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, everybody with their
5
IVs
hours.
now.
No, coffee, not 5 hours.
So more about how much they say. It's actually surprising how much they say is just fine. First, though, in the news today, the husband of the woman in Vegas who was shot outside her home after...
You know, it looks like it'll be short-lived, but Saturday and Sunday, a lot of the areas say 20 degrees warmer. Not only just across, say, Florida, but we're also talking about the Midwest. We could go from about 5 to 25. So the average temperature of your skin, Robin, starts to feel warmer.
Can you feel that difference, though?
3-degree difference.
You can once you've suffered 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
25, it sounds pretty balmy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when Bob left, it was nice, and then now you come in and it's really cold.
I know. I bring it.
I'm not pointing fingers.
Thank you. You know, the defense has rested in the American Sniper murder trial. A psychiatrist told the jury members that Eddie Routh was mentally unstable in the months before he filled with sugar and cream and this and that. And they point out it doesn't apply to the fancy frappuccino or lattes. That's got to be, I mean, story of the morning. I think so, who's up in the morning. It's the best story of the day. Exactly. As you're going, I don't know how I mean, it just changes your entire outlook, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. As this team knows, it's like, hey, feed her. Feed her. A police officer helping a stranded driver was almost crushed when another car lost control on the icy roads northwest of Detroit. Look at this tape. So what is this I heard about? Okay, we have a warm-up that somebody will be back to 70s, even better than that. Oh, please, everyone's like praying to the gods of temperatures. Let it be us.
In southern Georgia, the Gulf Coast, that's in the 30s right now. By Sunday, we can be in the 70s. Some areas in the 80s in North Florida.
I like
That
it.
sounds crazy. You know, time for what we call the Daily Share Speed Feed, interesting stories that you're clicking on. So the author of 50 Shades of Grey, E.L. James, is demanding, reportedly, that she get more of a too. But maybe she feels like she can make the movie better. So the executive producer of Parks and Recreation has Recreation finale airs on Tuesday. So while most of us are bundled up or inside trying to still in. So apparently things got heated as we get ready for the Daytona 500 break.
Oh, it did. Danica Patrick, do not mess with her when she's on the track because she'll confront you afterwards. We've got more of that coming.
What are you doing? Seriously. You did the same thing in practice. You did the same thing.
Yeah, she's fired up. More of this when we come back.
The thing is, they're friends, so that's really interesting. And then... They've been found. They've been reunited with their owners. So after this story made headlines around the nation, the van was spotted. Our salute to the troops today is so darn cute, and it's for Army Sergeant Jacob Growl. How do you feel about this loved one that served so selflessly in the military? We've been doing this for 10 years, so go ahead, go to hlntv.com/Robin to get your loved one salute on the air. It's the least we could do. The superbug scare at the UCLA Medical Center was apparently traced back to bacteria found on 2 medical scopes. Now, the hospital officials say that's even after they were cleaned according to guidelines. Uh-oh, another cable company joining the likes of one who is accused of addressing the customers in a bad way. So Time Warner is accused of, changing, Time Warner Cable, changing the name on somebody's bill to be Dear, a-hole so-and-so. But even worse, Jen says, good morning.
I mean, The worst of the worst. I'm going to let you grown-ups imagine which word it would be. The worst of the worst. You open up a letter and it says, Dear Beep Westhoven, or your last name. I mean, that'll get your attention, right? Well, Esperanza Martinez says that is what happened when she opened up a letter from Time Warner Cable that said, oh, we're so sorry you decided to cancel your service. She said, I didn't even try to cancel my service. She sent that letter off to the news site Ars Technica. Now, Time Warner Cable has said they are sorry for what they called the disgraceful treatment of a customer and gave her a year of free service. But this isn't the first time we've heard of something like this, right? So many stories of this coming from Comcast. It's had to apologize. And it all, I think it gets so much traction because it all plays into our collective experiences of poor service and poor treatment even from the cable companies. And a lot of people think that the why is because when it comes to that, you often don't have many other choices at all. Now, by the way, here's the fascinating turn on this story. Did you know that Time Warner Cable and Comcast are merging? Yes, the two companies with the worst customer service ratings in the country. Now, by the way, just so you know, a little bit of sort of backstory. Time Warner Cable is not any business relationship to Time Warner anymore. It was spun out in an IPO several years ago. Lenovo has had a special ad software built into computers called Superfish, but some people said it was just a big come on in sign for hackers. Now, Lenovo disputes that, but says it will remove that software, turn it off, and stop selling other computers that have it. The rapper Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby, well, he's defending himself. He says the stuff he took, he's accused of stealing, well, he thought the house where it came from was an abandoned house, but somebody on his team singing a different tune.
Right, if you haven't seen it, here's
right
a reason to go. Wait, hey Grayson, are you there?
Wait.
He's not listening to me, but we'll make sure that we tweet it so that you can watch it.
It's pretty funny. Did it go viral? I'm sure it went viral.
It did. It's a little. It was spontaneous. We didn't have like something thought out like they did. Like they had some synchronized dance moves. There's nothing synchronized in ours.
You got to see it though. It's a must see. You have to see.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
All right, a 13-year-old in South Florida has his own foundation to help end hunger. Wow, what a big thinker. And when he was just a kid, he says, he asked his mom to pull the car over so he could give a homeless man the $20 that his grandmother had just given him. That's how this got started. Meet CNN hero Joshua Williams. So do you know someone who's making a big difference in your community? The nominations for the 2015 CNN Heroes. It's open now. So CNNheroes.com so you can help us shine a spotlight on the everyday person who is doing a great job helping to change the world. An Oklahoma lawmaker says that schools are focusing too much on what's bad about America. He wanted to fix that by getting rid of advanced placement history. Now we have an update on that controversial bill. Good morning, 30 minutes past the hour, and welcome. Thank you so much for starting your day right here. I'm Robin Meade. This is what's going on. So the closing arguments in the American Sniper trial. A teenager who was accused of shooting his neighbor in what's being called a road rage incident was arrested after a 2-hour standoff in Vegas. Now, this was just Vegas with more on this, and apparently now she knew the Myers family and that this may not have been random, as the husband had indicated yesterday. How much contact do we know that they had?
Well, police aren't saying much. They're still investigating, but we are hearing from the father and the husband of the victim who said that that's what makes this even more heartbreaking is the fact that his family knew the alleged killer. Police are still looking for...
Maker in Oklahoma will revise a controversial bill that threatened to stop funding advanced placement history classes that he said emphasize, quote, what's bad about America, unquote. So the bill specifies what should be taught and highlights what legislators called American exceptionalism. But critics say that the bill would have it downplaying the difficult times in our country's history, like with the issue of slavery.
This course has taught me that with all of these things, the good and the bad, we have to keep moving forward.
Honestly, this class has taught me nothing but how to love America better. And whoever thinks that it's a revisionist history or that we only are taught the bad things about America clearly hasn't taken the class before.
Well, the lawmaker who wrote the bill says that it's been taken out of context and he plans to rework it. Bobby Christina Brown's breathing tube was reportedly removed. Now, the sources close to her family say that doctors are trying to slowly bring her out of her medically induced coma. So it means that she'll now be breathing through a hole in her throat. Now, CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta says that this will lower the risk of infection. However, a neurologist on HLN's Dr. Drew's show gave a grim prognosis. Owned and signed by Warren Buffett, just sold for $120,000. So that's still a lot of money. That's $100,000 more than it's actually worth by the books. Now, we told you about this auction for charity when it started 9 days ago, and the car was bought by an anonymous buyer in New York. The money from the sale will go to a Girls Incorporated of Omaha charity started by Buffett's late first wife. Morning, 43 minutes past the hour. Vanilla Ice says that the stuff that he's accused of stealing from a house in Florida was on the curb. He thought it was trash. The rapper, whose real name is Robert Van Winkle, is accused of taking the stuff while working on a house next door for his DIY network. We just talked about Apple maybe doing a watch. Now we're talking about them maybe doing a car. That was a leap, Jen. Good morning.
Good morning. I mean, how many times have you messed around with a toaster oven, a microwave, and thought, could Apple do this? Because this thing is just confusing me. You know, now the reports are flying that Apple may be getting to work on a car. Wow, that is a leap from a watch. Bloomberg News says an Apple car could be on the assembly line within 5 years. Now, this follows just earlier this week when the Wall Street Journal said they were working on a car. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's going, a car? Well, Tesla and General Motors, by the way, are also both working on electric cars that would go a lot farther than they do now on a single charge and would cost less than $40,000. So that really means that we've got some big names, companies who are seen as great at innovation, bringing some very different cars to the road soon. So maybe in a few years, the cars around you or maybe the one you're driving are going to be very different. Of course, no comment from Apple. All right, remember we told you a couple of days ago how, maybe it was last week, banks were looking for a special loophole. Although most companies cannot robocall you on your cell phone, it's banned. They wanted an exception and were petitioning and lobbying for one. Well, 60,000 people have said no in the public comment period, telling the FCC they don't want banks to get that kind of exclusive power. Banks have said, well, but we need to get you. It might be urgent. Well, consumer groups say if it's so urgent, you can have a human being call. Banks had also sought for a special sort of provision so that if they called you with the wrong number, they wouldn't be in trouble, meaning they could call you over and over and over, if some people have said has happened to them.
And it wasn't even meant for you.
Yeah. All right, I know it's not Christmas. It's a long way off. But is this the hot toy of the season? A Yoda robot?
Did it look like Yoda?
He's even got the right color saber.
Did he talk backward like Yoda? Have you ever wondered how an Oscar statue is made? The Chicago-based company R.S. Owens has been in charge of creating Oscar statues for 30 years. A design engineer takes you through the process.